So after you install Unreal, we're going to take a look at creating our project. Let's select C++, basic code. For the name of the project, I'm just going to name it Periodic Planet. And then I'm going to navigate to my folders, maybe on my desktop for now. You can save it wherever you want. I'm going to call it Games. And then in this folder, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then actually, let's get rid of this space, and then let's go ahead and hit Create Project. I'm going to pause the video while it creates the project. So once your project is done building, Unreal is going to launch Visual Studio. There's a couple source files in here. There's our, if we expand this out, this is our Unreal project. You can see here's some of our source files. And so what we want to look for is, see how it says local Windows debugger? Over here on the side, you're going to see debug game, all this stuff. We want development editor. Go ahead and select that. And then what we want to do is just build this out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control and F5. Once it's done building, you're going to find yourself inside of the Unreal Editor. Let's look at some of the controls. If you right click, you can rotate your camera to look around. Left click lets you zoom in and out. You can also move around your scene with an arrow keys. Look for the page up and page down button. It lets you go up and down. So if you click in your scene as well and you kind of scroll in and out, it's another way of I'm using the wheel of the mouse to pan and scroll, and then the right click. So whatever way you find helpful to move around your scene. Now if you hold the right mouse button and you hold WASD, you can also move around the scene that way. Now up at the top you'll notice you have this taskbar for saving your scene, all this other stuff. Go ahead and press play. And now we're inside of our actual game. We're walking around, you can hear the audio. Spacebar is moving us up. It allows us to sort of fly around our scene. Now we're actually in it. We can see the way the textures work and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and escape to leave play mode. Now let's take a look at adding objects to our scene. There's a couple ways of doing it. Down at the bottom you have a content browser. If we click in here, you have this stuff. If you can't see it, you can go to Window here, Content Browser, and then click on your content browser. And as you go through this, you can see you can set up your own content browsers or use the ones that are there. You can see there's blueprints, architecture, particles, props. If we go inside of our props folder, you can see we have other objects. You can select, you can move them around like this. It's similar to Maya in that R is scale, E is rotate, W is move. And then you can just sort of select by clicking on the different assets. If I want to remove an asset, I can just press the delete key. So let's go ahead and grab like a generic sphere here. And let's take a look at our materials. So if I double click in that materials folder, you can see I've got a bunch of different ones. And we'll get into creating our own in Substance. If I hit F, I can focus on this, things like that. If you're concerned about the lighting, you can select your light. There's a default here, you can always add more. And we'll get into some lighting in Unreal as well soon. Also, you can see here we have breadcrumbs, which will take us back to our initial start content folder. And you can see that here's our other objects, and you can see there's more materials out here. So we can just keep dragging and dropping materials on here to see how they react. If you're an artist and you're watching this to kind of learn about coding, I mean, I'm primarily, to be honest with you, an artist. Um, Self-taught, and I took a bunch of coding classes, but the point behind this is you don't you don't ever want to really use these materials. I mean, if it's an indie project and you're going to publish it, it's fine, but not for your demo reel if you're applying for a job. You want to get into the habit of painting, learning how to create real art. So I'm going to end this video here before the 5-minute mark, and then in the next video we're going to start from scratch.